Welcome back, KRON 4 News Weekend. Yeah, you know, I am a happy guy, and I really, I'm lucky, and I've got a great job. But the fact of the matter is that even folks like me who are happy, you know, we go through all kinds of crazy stress for all of the wrong reasons. I want to introduce you to a writer, an educator, a trainer, and a guy who's written what is a really effective book. It's about, well, keeping your cool. It's called Mystic Cool. Don Joseph Goey is the author. He's local, and he's joining us now. So just for starters, we have a whole set of physiology that causes us to stress out, and it's actually probably archaic and shouldn't be there. And we always expect the worst. So why does all that happen?
Well, it's genetics. You know, when we were in the jungle, we needed fight or flight. We needed it probably 100 times a day. We're not in the jungle anymore, and it's still active. So genetically, we get predisposed to survival mode. And what ends up happening is that most of the stress reactions that we have are mental events, if I would put it that way. We think our way into all kinds of stressful events purely in our head that excite these emotions. And past traumas also kind of fortify those neural networks, and pretty soon what takes control of our brain is this lower primitive brain, this place called the amygdala that kicks into fight or flight.
Okay, so the problem is that we've got that locked into our brain, and I think many of us understand why that happens, and we go, well, wait, stop it. Stop expecting the worst. Stop panicking. And yet, you know, my brain is locked into doing that.
Right.
So you've got some ideas, some suggestions here on how to get around that problem.
That's exactly right. Actually, they're findings from research. What research has found, science used to think, neuroscience used to think that by age 6, whatever brain you had in place was the brain that you were going to have to live with.
Right.
So if your brain was wired for pessimism, you were going to die whining, and there was nothing that you could do about that. Then they found 10 years ago that the brain changes, and it changes rapidly, and it changes according to your change in experience. So that as you move from dealing with these kind of fearful ideations, these fearful ideas that you're having, out of them into a more realistic way of looking at things, a calmer way of looking at things, your brain begins to rewire for that. It actually rewires you out of that primitive brain response. Okay,
so then now we're getting to the hard tax here. You say refute fear with reality. Sure, that's easy for you to say, buddy, but that ain't so easy. How do you do that?
It's actually pretty simple. We have a tool. It's called What Am I Afraid Of? And here's what you need to know about that. Fear triggers a stress reaction. Biologically, if you're stressing, some form of fear is present that your brain has detected, that's turned control of your brain over to the primitive brain and kicked you into fight or flight. Right? Mm-hmm. So the relevant question when you go into the bathroom and look in the mirror and you see this sort of face and you go, I think I'm stressed, the relevant question to ask yourself is, what am I afraid of? And you ask it 4 or 5 times, and you let the primitive brain give you the answer. It's going to give you a raw answer. Yeah. And the answer it gives always has some element of catastrophe in it.
Right.
So for example, if you find a discoloration on your arm that wasn't there
cancer,
yesterday,
I'm dying.
I'm dying, right, that's it. Or you pick up your credit card bill and it's twice what you thought it would be. Oh my God, we're in financial ruin. Well, neither one of those things are true. At least certainly on the discoloration, you're not an expert, you can't tell what, and there's no need to go into a stress reaction. And so as you do that, as you begin to realize this is nonsense, I don't have to believe it, I can have these thoughts 1,000 times a day. If I don't believe one of them, I have a great day. I believe one of them, boom, it's like that. And what happens when you calm down? Your brain switches from that amygdala, lower primitive part, to the prefrontal cortex, which makes you, at the level of the prefrontal cortex, all the good things you want start to happen. A creative flow of intelligence happens, your emotional meter switches to positive, you begin to connect the dots, you begin to see solutions, where stress, all you saw was problems.
Let me interrupt, because we've got a stress situation right now. The producer up in the control room is really stressed because we have to go, and she's telling me about it. So let me tell you how you can meet Don. What he's got to say is fascinating because he uses a lot of spiritual elements, you know, like the Buddha, religion, meditation, along with the science. It all comes together. So he's going to be at the Green Gulch Zen Center in Muir Beach September 4th and 5th. MysticCool.com is the name of the book, and it's the name of the the book's called Mystic Cool, the website MysticCool.com. And as I say, there's a lot here, fascinating stuff. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break, sort of relax, meditate. When we come back, we are going to meet, well, sort of the poet farmer, one of the finest writers about the earth, who's also a working farmer. That's coming up on KRON 4 News Weekend.